everyone, I hope you are all well and you're enjoying your retro goodness in all your collections. Now, nostalgia plays a big part in this hobby, with many of us remembering games from our childhood, be it from screenshots of games, YouTube playthroughs, or just a mention of a long lost video game by someone which triggers that desire to go looking for said game. But what about the sounds? Surely this has to be one of the biggest factors of a nostalgia trip to your favourite video games? I believe it is. Embedded in your memory are iconic sounds from certain games which triggers those good old days. Some sounds more iconic than others and recognisable to a wider audience. But some, well, they're unique to you, and this video is going to take us to those particular memories, to my memories. So, at number 5, one of, if not the most known one-on-one fighting game to ever grace arcades and home consoles alike, Street Fighter. It has surely crossed paths with many gamers, and there's one sound from this game which is so iconic that gamers have shouted this out at some point in their lives. I know I have, and best of all, I'm not really a fan of this game or the genre, but when I hear this sound, I know exactly which game is nearby. Of course, this is Ryu's signature move in Street Fighter, and it's iconic. My earliest memory of this sound is from a local pizza and kebab shop, and in there they had the Street Fighter arcade machine. It was loud and Hadouken was heard all the time whilst gorging into my greasy kebab. This is where that sound of implanted itself into my memory. At number 4, one of the earliest video games I ever played was Space Invaders, and was a prominent part of seaside holidays as a child with my family. Arcades weren't as large and varied as they become later on, and so it was usually at one of the seaside bars or hotels that a Space Invaders arcade machine was found. Simplistic in gameplay, basic in looks, but completely iconic in its sound. The whole sound is what I'm talking about. It's so distinguishable that hearing it before setting eyes on it made my heart skip and the excitement fizzed inside of me. Pestering my parents for a handful of 10-pence pieces to play the game, and they would always have a few spare for me to have a go. The sound is quite basic, but it's so recognisable and nostalgic. Moving on to number 3, Sonic the Hedgehog zoomed onto our consoles and was a breath of fresh air for platforming games. The speed of Sonic whizzing around the levels was exciting stuff. Gamers around the world took to Sonic, a hedgehog with an attitude, and the character itself became an iconic figure in the gaming world. The soundtrack of the game was of course catchy, and many people will be able to hum the tune with ease. Equally, hear this sound and you'll instantly recognise where it comes from. The rings sound effect is just as iconic as the game itself, and just listen to the loss of rings sound effect. Yep, the sighs heard around the globe as every player has at some point lost all their rings by touching an enemy. Sonic rings sounds are satisfying to hear. Their tone is a reassuring jingle, and collected in quick succession is a feast for the ears. At number 2, we are going way back in time again to one of the most iconic sounds from the most iconic video game character ever, PacMan. It's been said that if you repeatedly stick a finger in your ear canal, you can mimic the famous whacker sound. Try it for yourself after the video, but until then, let's remind you of what it really sounds like. Everyone is familiar with PacMan's whacker sound. It's the sound that PacMan makes whilst walking around the maze collecting white pills. Just as distinctive is PacMan's death sound, but it's only fair that the whacker sound is given the glory. Since it is the most heard sound in the game after all, unless you're a very bad player. How iconic is the whacker sound? Well, put it this way, there are videos on YouTube that play the sound on a continuous 12-hour loop. Yep, that's right, 12 hours of And finally, at number 1, let's take a time machine back to the beginning of summer 1986. The destination is Bridlington Seaside Resort in East Yorkshire, England. Now, a 13-year-old Retro Games Revived is on holiday and he's just stood outside of Joyland's arcade, eating an ice cream, waiting for the rest of the family to catch up, when he suddenly hears a terrifying scream. Looking around to see if someone had keeled over, the all clear means he can carry on feasting on his ice cream. And then there it is again. This time he pinpoints the direction of the deaf gurgling sound. It's coming from inside the Joyland arcade. Curiously, he walks through the main doors, where a huge machine with an inviting glow around it summons him closer. A crowd is gathered round, and young Retro Games Revived claws his way past all the people, revealing the awesome sight that beholds him. Space Harrier. He immediately fell in love with it, and the harrowing death scream will remain with him forever. Yes, it's a soundbite that is completely iconic with the game. There really isn't another death scream like it. And, you know, it's almost a joy to actually hear it. You will regularly as the game becomes rock hard in later levels. Space Harrier does have other iconic sounds in the game, but it's that is the main one, often blaring out from the headrest speakers. You can almost feel the death for the player's character. This iconic sound will be remembered and cherished in my memory forever. It's a sound you don't want to hear, as it means you've lost a life. But yet, when you do hear it, there's a satisfying smugness that puts a grin on your face.
Get ready.
That's all, friends, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to respond with your top 5 iconic video game sounds. Take care, people, and all the best.